head basketball coach of the Linclon Blue Tigers. And I always have to say when I mention Linclon, that Cascade Sports started at Linclon Perp College, Academy, I should say. And we started with the basketball team and spread on out to these other sports. So I got a special place in my heart, and our company has a special place in the athletes as it relates to their high academic achievement and their athletic prowess. Hey, Coach, we've got Coach Ryan Glasgow on today with two of his players, Jeremiah and Aaron. Coach, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Appreciate you having us, my man. Good to see you, brother.
All right. Hey, Coach, give our audience a little preamble on your guys and where you see them performing this season.
Well, I mean, we have a senior-led team this year. We have 5 seniors that will return from last year, along with a junior and a sophomore. So we have 7 returning players from our district championship team last year, 5 of which are seniors, like I mentioned. So, you know, it's always good to have that experience. And this is going on our 3rd year, my 2nd year as a head coach, but going on a 3rd year with this group. So we have high expectations to repeat, of course, as district champions, conference champions, and then take the next step and try to get to the Final Four this year.
Hey, Coach, run it down with the quick step last year. What went on, and not just what went on with Linclon. The whole IL really excelled in sports. Run that down real quick for our audience that might not know what the deal is.
Yeah, it was a good year for Linclon, good year for the IL. I mean, we had our girls and boys team both win district championships. So that was awesome. The girls went to back-to-back Final Fours. Fortunately, COVID shut a lot of stuff down for a lot of people, so they weren't able to go play. But yeah, I mean, IL Central also, you know, did well and won their district as well. That's our rivalry, though, so we're not going to talk about them too much on here.
And the main thing, we don't want to talk about, but it's more so we are a Black network, and I make that clear to everybody. Absolutely. And the IL is a predominantly district of color, and our kids don't get that shine, and even more so with a school like Central High School that the IL was they were one of the top teams, as well as Linclon back, as we say, in the day. But now the day is now, and I'm very proud of Linclon Prep and all of the IL schools that are raising their game, because at 69 coming here, hey fellas, all the adult ballers, and I know y'all know some of them, your daddies and uncles, back in the day. And I get tired of hearing about back in the day. I be wanting to see, y'all are making moves right now, like Black Lives Matter. What they did back in the day was good, but now is what we dealing with. And so I had to put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, they're in the 3A, we're 4A, so it's a different division altogether. So once we get out of conference and regular season, I mean, we want the IL to do well, because that represents all of us.
Yeah, that represents our community, basically.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, it's competitive games. When we play against them, of course, we want to win, but when they're playing against everybody else, we want to see them do well, because that does represent us. So yeah, it's a good year for the IL overall, basketball-wise. You know, this year, we'll see how it goes. We got our first game tomorrow against Warrensburg. You know,
is that home or
it's away. It's at Warrensburg. We had some stuff shut down for COVID. We were going up to Republic again this year, but they weren't allowing any teams outside of a certain radius.
This program is brought to you by Dielectric LLC, Energy in Motion.
Hey, Coach, I wish when you go there, if you take a couple of shots, and you know, I was talking about coming on once a week, but since y'all are going to play, possibly at the end of the week or on the weekend, we do another because the kids will be excited one way or another. All right, fellas, we getting ready to go in on you, and I'm getting ready to go in on Jeremiah first. All right, hey, tell our audience a little bit about yourself. I usually say you know the drill. You've seen interviews, I'm sure. So you know the drill. Let's go back to kindergarten and let's talk about some of the people that helped you build your skill set and to where you're at right now. And then if you get lost along the way, I'll interrupt you.
Yes, sir. Well, as you said, my name is Jeremiah. Some of the influence on my game, my dad was a really big influence on the game, like show me the ins out of it and start in close and then just work your way back out. Everything starts in the paint. Just really big on fundamentals. And then as I going along, the coaching staff at Lincoln, especially
when you just didn't start ball at Lincoln, where did you start your playing ball? When did you start the biddy leagues and those coaches? Coach Glasgow's gonna always get his because you his player. And that's why I do this, because he's on a high school level, on a college level, a pro level, not so much pro. Most of the people who recognize the coach that they with. And before you got with Glasgow, there were coaches that helped build your skill set. And you need to acknowledge them. And that's why I asked you to go back to kindergarten, because we have a long history of working with you young boys, and there's no money in coaching. And when they coaching you, for the most part, it's because they want to see you develop your athletic and your other skills. And I think our network, if you know, we're home of the student athlete, we're into recognizing people that don't normally get recognized. And it comes out of your mouth, not my mouth. So run it down from the time you start playing and who helped you build your skill set.
All right, from the beginning, like I said, my dad was a big major role, played biddy ball with the YMCA, like a lot of kids did. A big major part of that, me growing up, was my coach Darrell.
What's his last name?
I believe it's Help.
All right.
YMCA, he was in there a lot, in the gym with me a lot, just helping me make sure like everything was right, my shot form, my handle.
What age was you at?
Probably around like from the ages of like 3 to like almost all the way up to like 7. He's just along the way, just helping me get better at my game. Probably like 10 to like from probably 7 up to like the 8th grade. Coach Ben, I don't remember his last name, but also just
were they?
The first, the YMCA, the next one was the Crusaders. I played with them for a while. Major role. He's a good all-around guy. Just showed me that basketball isn't just something that's on the court. Like you can take stuff that you use on the floor, like being a leader, being a role model, being vocal, and you can put that in everyday thing that you're gonna need. Like, cause basketball, it eventually stops for everybody. So brought a lot of key things that I can take away from the game and just a big influence on the game.
All right, moving on up, baby. Come on, we're going up to the Jeffersons. Keep it moving.
Probably got to middle school. Probably I'm at Lincoln now in 8th grade. The coaching staff that was there. Shout out to Coach Pierre. I believe he still coaches at Penn Valley. It just put a lot of some of the leadership that's in me, the confidence that I have right now. It just pushed me to always be the best at what I put. I believe I think his last name is. Yeah, all right, yes sir, thank you. But just a lot of just the big confidence, because I really wasn't a big confidence guy. I was just like, if I shot the ball, I'll shoot it. But I just know that I got to shoot it with confidence now because of him. Major role. I believe he was there from my 8th grade to my 9th grade year, and then 10th all the way up until now. Coach Glasgow and that coaching staff has been there.
All right, now let's go to 9th grade. Who was your coach?
Coach Pierre.
All right. What was his style? Coach Glasgow got you in the 10th grade?
Yes, sir.
All right. Talk about what style, the difference in coaching, and how you as a basketball player, this is what I tell all of my athletes that come on to a degree. you the same person, you have different coaches, and how do you adjust your attitude to the coaching style of the present coach that you have?
Ninth grade, like it was upbeat, but it was like if you messed up, it was like, oh, you'll get it the next time, or just trying to work on it the next time. But now it's you getting held accountable, like big time, especially for me being a senior now, like every little
detail. You got the whip out on them, baby.
Hey, it's all business, man. The
bench, hey, Jeremiah, is the bench waiting for you?
Hey, that you try to stay far away from it, because you know if you're down there and they get a good group going in, you might not see that floor for a lot of time.
I love it. I hate to bring Central in, but it's been Jack Bush week on our network, and that's what them players say. He got the old time approach. Go get on that bench. Think about it. We'll see you next week.
That's the best teacher right there. Is the bench. Yeah. The best teacher is the bench.
Don't worry about it. Get on that bench. We'll see you next week.
That's it. Hey, you either learn or that butt get real sore sitting over there.
Do you think that that approach puts you more in gear as it relates to your competitiveness and just your overall look at the game?
It really does. It's just like the whole intensity level. It just, you gotta maintain it. And if you aren't, like, it's nothing wrong with coming off the bench, but if you coming off the bench, just keep coming in and maintaining that energy that first five is giving. You just got to keep matching it.
Is he watching that? Is he watching that 6-man and 7-man? I just can imagine the changes that are going on. Cause like I said, I started my company there and really knew the basketball coaches and what have you. But I'm glad to see discipline is not that other coaches didn't have it, but a lot of times wanting to win over discipline, coaches will let players play and let them get away. But that's why
we can't do that with this generation of kids, because they have a lot more responsibility than those generations of the past. I mean, you have all of the platforms in the world to express yourself and to make change, and if we don't prepare them for more than basketball, then we're failing them. I mean, because basketball, like Jeremiah said, is just a small part of who you are. It can carry on with you throughout your life, the lessons you learn, but our job as coaches is to help raise these guys and help them be better young men. So, I mean, if we can be disciplined and teach them to be accountable for a sport that's supposed to be fun, it's a voluntary activity, then that trickles over to, them becoming better fathers, businessmen, giving back to their community or whatever. So I would rather them call me in 5 or 10 years and say, Coach, man, you really was on my ass about this or about that, but thank you for that, because now my responsibility level is where it needs to be so I can handle everything that's coming my way. So.
And you know what you can tell about that is that I like to talk off the basketball floor. You earn your living as a coach per se, but the men that you make and his conversation really is exemplary of the type of athlete that I like seeing coming out of our community, because his whole conversation really hasn't been about basketball. It's been about the things that basketball and the people that have been his mentor carry on his social life, So, what was your season last year, man? Run it down. Go from the first game on down. How do you, on a 1 to 10, how do you think you performed?
From the first game, that was a really big game, because coming into that from that summer, we played Grandview Christian, played them in the summer, lost a lot to them. So they was already thinking, oh, we finna come in and get an easy dub. We came out, that was a hard fought game. We fought for that win, like they didn't let up. There was an overall really good team win for us. Coming into that next,
How did you play? Me
personally, I felt like I played good. could have did a lot of things better, made better decision making. In the end, I still end up helping my team get the dub. I'm known as the shooter on the team, so the other team knew that. So my first instinct was to shoot first. But you know, they kept track of me, so I had to swing it. Shout out to my senior from last year, JT, who's at Graceland right now. Passed him the ball, made a very tough shot to give us that little push that we need.
Hey, coach, that's accurate.
Yeah.
All right, hold it. That's why I always insist on a coach being, because in my years, I'm gonna ask you this, Jeremiah, on a 1 to 10, what's your handles like?
Probably I give it a good 7. It could be better.
Coach?
They know they know.
All right.
They know when I'm around to keep it 100.
That's what our network's supposed to be about. All right. You were saying that you was a shooter. What's your sweet spot? Where you like to post up at?
Like I like shooting on the wing, like off the swing, like with a swing and either cross it. But like that wing area, I like shooting on both sides of the wing.
On a 1 to 10, what's that shot like?
When it's on, I'm giving it a 10. But when I'm off like bad.
Do you have any type of conscience on shooting?
Sometimes I do. Like if I feel like I'm open, I'm letting it fly. Regardless.
Well, see, I'm saying real shooters, a lot of times coach might have to take them out, because if they don't believe, they'll just keep shooting. Is he one of those, coach? I'm saying I go by old school. You know, they shoot until they really get on a lot of times. What's his style? On the decision making, I see I'm off, so I need to play it. My defense need to come up, or my passing need to come up. He got good decision making on that?
Well, I mean, you know, in high school, you know, you have to encourage kids to keep shooting the ball if it's a good shot. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't realize that.
You can't force the ball to go in the basket. You just have to take the opportunities that are there for you. And if they're good opportunities, then eventually those shots will start to fall. But we try to instill confidence in everybody to take shots, you know, and do, you know, you're only going to improve. And we always say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, you know, we have a well-balanced team. Everybody needs to contribute for us to be successful. So if Jeremiah is open, I want him to shoot it. You know, and if he's not open and I still want him to shoot it, I'll let him know. Hey,
Jeremiah, tell me, what's been the most difficult thing for you to overcome as an athlete?
I have to say my attitude. Like I feel like I just feel like every shot that I shoot, it should go in, and like I missed that one shot, and I'm just like, man, I got to make that, and I'll get in the slump. Then it'll just lead to the next shot and the next shot, and I'm just missing, and I'm really not out there helping my team, just moseying along, and then I have to come out, and then I'm wondering why I'm coming out. But in the back of my head, I know what I'm coming out for is because my attitude and my energy is not where it needs to be. So I have to say my attitude.
All right, that's great. You one of the team? You team captain, right?
I think so.
You got all of them get the opportunity to be.
All right. So from a leadership standpoint, how important do you think that is to relay to your team? You know, when the coach is not there in the locker room, hey, I had a bad attitude, and you see what happened with that, and especially with your young freshmen, that leadership role is really part of building this new culture that coach and y'all are building. You two athletes can play a very important part in Lincoln's basketball program at this point in time.
And they have. These seniors really have.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying even more so because keeping it where it's not that was a fluke last year or things like that. Now, because I'm, like I said, with the IL, I'm whooping at everybody. Hey, the IL is back, and the suburban schools that have been taking out talent, we still got a bunch of talent in the urban core, and it's going to be a war. It ain't going to be no more because now our schools are getting fields, and I'm pretty sure y'all won't benefit, but I'm pretty sure they'll be getting more gyms in the future. And this is for the corporate community. Y'all need to be putting in your part because you're in this city and these are our kids and they need to have the same experience as suburbia if you want Kansas City to be the core to be strong. Athletics is a big part of it, and we can't do it without the economic part that you're supposed to be putting in. Sorry to mess your interview up, but we have a lot of corporate people that look at you kids, and they need to, if they just working in the corporation, that to ask their bosses, are we supporting Lincoln? Are we supporting this? Because they're bringing milk and services to our district, and y'all need the support. I think you were doing some type of fundraising recently, or
yeah, we have to do that as much as we can. To get the things, we want to have all the nice gear, all the nice travel stuff.
Y'all look nice. If y'all couldn't play, that'd be a pity.
You gotta. Hey, you look good. You look good. You play good. That's part of it. So I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years really focusing on that. We got some brand new.
I know more than anybody that you.
We got some brand new drip that we getting ready to break out tomorrow that these guys are excited about. So you got to do that. I mean, that's part of it. These kids work hard. They work hard in the classroom. They work hard on the court. They deserve to be out here and look the part as well as go out and compete and play at that level.
Hey, Jeremiah. So your season last year, go on to the next game, and we're gonna get to you, man. The reason we have these long interviews because nobody else really can do them for the most part. It's course prohibited. We're gonna get to your story, but go ahead and go.
I believe our next game, I think it was our second game East. Going in, I knew we was gonna get the win. It was a very sloppy game for us as a whole. Me personally, I feel like that was my worst game on the season.
What did coach say in the locker room after that sloppy game? I'm interested in to hear that.
Hey, just know he got on us, and that
all right. Go ahead.
That next practice was a vicious practice for us, but hey, it prepared us.
It was vicious.
That was a vicious practice. That next one, but yeah, I feel like I didn't have a good performance at all. My shooting was down, my energy was down, and I just feel me personally for that game as being a leader on the team, I kind of let the team down as a whole because like the team feeds off of each other's energy. So if one person's energy is down, that five that's on the court, I don't feel like it's up to them to bring the energy up. It's just like everybody maintains their energy while they in. They come out, the next five will come in, and they just got to keep maintaining their energy. I believe what was our next game? Yep. Then we went to Republic after East. Our first two games, we won our first two games. Republic, I believe that was our for real first time as a team, kind of quote unquote traveling with each other. The off the court stuff was cool, like the bonding. It was good for team bonding. I feel like as a whole we bonded really well on that trip. Unfortunately, we didn't get any wins at Republic, which is one of the big reasons I wanted to go back down there. But unfortunately, like Coach said, because of COVID reasons, we couldn't go back down there. That was I feel like that was an eye opener for us. That just really we got to buy into the process that the coach has been telling us from day one when they first came. Just like the work ethic, and we just got to work and grind and use what we have to our advantage because. Overall, we're not really a big team. We don't got a lot of 6'8" guys, 6'5" like
what's your physical measurements, height and weight?
The last time I was measured, I believe I was 6 foot, 145.
So go on to let's go to your season closing. What was your last game and play?
That last game is definitely a game we should have won. a very low scoring game. Just everybody as a whole.
Who were you playing?
We played St. Joe Lafayette. I think that was the sectional game, right, Coach?
Yep.
Yeah. Going into that game, we had got a big win off. No, we played Winnetonka. We played Winnetonka before them. We won at Winnetonka. Going into that game, that week of practice was a good. I feel like for energy wise and getting the stuff done that we need to get done, it was a good practice. Going into the game, I feel like nobody's gonna say this, but I feel like as a whole, we was nervous because not a lot of us have been in that position, like getting past that district.
Natural.
Getting past that district championship game. But yeah, we went out. I feel like coming out, we played hard. It was close. We kept it close. But down the stretch, just fatigue and mental awareness of where we're supposed to be at on defense, executing on offense. And unfortunately, we ended up losing that game 31-32. We lost about 1 point. And I just like that left a bitter taste in our mouth. So we just got to go out and handle business.
You learned from that, didn't you?
Of course.
And you know what happens in that? Because I'm a former athlete. A lot of times you can be in the peak condition and everything, and you just trying too hard. And that's what that sound like. Y'all were ready and what have you, but you were trying too hard and just fell short. But if you're a student of the game, are you a student of the game?
Yes, sir.
All right. No matter what sport, you will see they just don't climb to that championship. It's a progression most of the time. Once they get there, a lot of times teams can stay there for 2 or 3 years. But that was the building block for you to take it this year. And you won't let that happen. And as Coach said, you got a heavy senior team, the leadership, the community, not just daggone Lincoln and their alumni. You are representing the community. And I want to put that weight on you, that when our community goes out, and whether it's a social occasion or what, we like to be proud to say, you know, Lincoln is one of the top schools in the country for academics and for athletics, like USC, Stanford, and these are colleges, but they got hell of academic programs, but on the educational side, they're at the top of the rung also. And so now, I used to didn't talk to you athletes like this when you came on our show, but now Black Lives Matter, and from my point of view, it's all things Black. And I have a fiduciary responsibility. If you don't, I know Coach Glasgow talks to y'all about all this stuff, because, hey, Glasgow, you going back with a 220 approach, but a Bobby Knight type deal with how teams used to travel back in our day. You had your blue blazer on, you had a tie on, and you acted like you had some sense. Right. And bringing that back with letting you have the 220, you know, the hip hop, the hairstyle. Because once upon a time, you couldn't wear your hair like that. Everybody was going to be clean. You look like you in the service. And you knew if you got out of line socially, off the court, that would carry over. You'd be on the bench and you'd be a star.
We still hold those same measurements for these guys today. They understand.
You do a lot of coaches, man. Come on.
I don't. I mean, for us, like I said, we're raising young Black males for the most part. I mean, we do have some white kids on our team, some Latin kids on our team, but we hold them all to the same standard because when you walk out into the public, you represent your family, you represent your school, your program, and we want
community.
I don't go out and show out and act a fool when I'm wearing, my Lincoln stuff or otherwise, So I try to be the example of that. I also try to be the example for these guys to be able to have their voices heard, though. You need to be able to have your own identity and believe in something and be able to stand up for what you believe in that's going on outside of the world that's going to affect you every day. So yeah, you know, we hold those standards. I wouldn't say it's quite Bobby Knight. It might be a little bit.
No, close. I said it's 220.
It might be close though. I mean, it might be close
220. We're in 220, and some of the stuff nobody's gonna stand for. But there's some fundamental things that
absolutely. I mean, and that's part of the game. That's part of the game. I mean, you know, we have to hold that standard as part of the basketball. You know, I studied a lot of those coaches, and you know, I mean, grew up watching those coaches' teams play and how successful they were. So, I mean, you take as a coach, you're just a player that's on the sideline calling shots. You know what I mean? You have to continue to learn, and you have to take a little piece from everybody and try to implement that into your style and your program. And you know, as far as these guys are concerned, I mean, they have really embraced that. I started coaching this group in JV before I took over as head coach. These were the guys that I coached in JV, so they were very successful that first year with that, and they kind of learned. You know, I think that was an advantage because they kind of learned what I was about as far as what my expectations were, and they've all embraced that. And you know, they've really grown. I'm hard on them still, even probably harder on them now than I was on them then. Because they're older and more mature, and this is it. After this season, you know, they're going off into the world to do whatever they're going to do, and I want them to be prepared for that. So.
Hey, what's your expectations, Jeremiah, for this season? For you, not just for the team. Have you set any personal expectations?
Personally, I'm gonna start off.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.
With my shooting performance, just keep it above like 40%, because that's a good shooting average for somebody that's supposed to be a shooter. Just make sure my attitude all around. Just make sure I keep a good attitude. Just keep good energy. Make sure I don't like have any drop offs like with the energy when I'm on the court, if when I'm coming off. Just pretty much just be overall like better leader, and just keep building to become a better leader overall for me personally.
All right. What I would like to say, what do you think? We're gonna close you out, but with Cascade Sports being home of the student athlete, how important is your education?
That comes before anything else. You can't do basketball without the academics. You can be one of the coldest persons in your position and have colleges looking at you, but they're not going to take you if you don't got your grades right.
All right. One last thing. Give a young freshman some advice on how to be successful coming up through sports in general, not specifically for Lincoln, because a freshman in general, you know what it was like being a freshman, what your attitude was like.
Just buy into the process. Don't try to fight it. Like, you're not gonna get everything right the first time, but just be open to what your coaches have to tell you. Like, they're not gonna tell you nothing that's wrong. Like, majority of the coaches that are coaching, they've been in your position right now, so they know what they're talking about. Just buy into the process, listen, just be a student of the game, and just absorb everything you can, because you got 4 years in high school, and you're gonna look up, and before you know it, you're about to be out of there.
Right. All right. Pleasure having you on the show. Who you shouting out to before you lose your spotlight?
Shout out to my mom.
They don't know their names. When you were saying your dad, give a name to the person.
Shout out to Letitia and Norman Randle, my parents. Shout out to my little brother Israel. I'm gonna have a big season this year for him. It's big time for him. Just shout out to.
Hold. Didn't know we had a little one coming through the pipeline. Where's he?
He playing with us.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to my older brother too, Jalen. Shout out to all the coaches that have helped me along the way. Just elevated my game to where it is now. Shout out to Coach G, big time. Shout out to Coach G.
All right. Hey, Bedell, get ready to come in on you. And I'm gonna tell you, Coach ain't playing, because one game, I thought you was the man. And I said, Coach, let me get an interview with Bedell. And he said, no. Do you remember that, Coach?
I do.
He played well as far as I was concerned, but Coach was like, nope, not tonight. So
yeah, I remember that, man.
I'm letting you know. I was like, man, what the heck's wrong with Coach? Boy did everything. Boy was Superman. But you must have been supposed to been doing some other things. He squashed that interview and put the little young guard on.
Trying to keep his mind.
What was the little young guard that you put on? His mama worked at the bank.
EJ Betts, another one of our seniors. Yeah.
Yeah, he put Betts in, and Betts told his story. Hey man, they had me on the bench on the JV. I had to scratch my way and be a dog to try to get me a spot. And so that paid off. He took your interview. So now let's run it down from kindergarten, bro.
All right. So I first started playing basketball when I was around like 3 years old. Before I can remember, my dad, we would always go to like Chuck E. Cheese, and then we would just get on a basketball machine. We would just compete with each other. And I think that was like the main anchor, like one of the main reasons why I played basketball. So while I was in kindergarten, I played for the YMCA Little League team in Houston. And then I used to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning every morning to go work out. And then I would go to school. What? And then I had this coach, his name was Coach Rich. And then he would train me pretty much every morning until…
How old were you?
So it was from the age of 4 to about 7. And then that's when he moved. So I used to work out pretty much every day up until then. And then fast forward to 4th grade, that's when I moved to Maryland. And then I started playing basketball there. I played also with another
Where
YMCA
were you at
team.
in Maryland?
I was in Severn. It's right next to Baltimore. And then that team, that team actually kind of hurt me, honestly, more than it helped me.
Talk about it so our kids and coaches can hear from you with bad coaching, bad whatever was going on. Run that down. That's important.
All right. So previous to joining that team, like I had always had the confidence. Like I used to just always shoot the ball. I used to think nobody could really guard me, and that's because they really couldn't back then. I felt like I was the best player ever. The game was just so fun. It was so pure to me. And then because I was tall, the coach, he had limited me because, also his son was on the team, and he was showing lots of favoritism towards his son. He told his son to pretty much take every single shot on that team. So he ended up putting me in the post and then had his son run point guard and pretty much take most of the shots. And then practices, he just stopped being fun. They weren't fun anymore. He was really just focused on his son. He wasn't focused on the team. And then after that, from 6th grade and 7th grade, I played basketball.
Cutting you off. You coaches, did you hear that came out of not Mr. Nelson's mouth, not Glasgow's mouth? That came out of player. So look at yourself, you coaches that have sons, and look at what you're doing. Are you doing your offense and everything around your son, or are you coaching the team?
And I'll say this, it's not just, that's a big part, it's not just their son.
All right, we'll talk about it in a minute.
But sometimes it's whoever they have the best relationship with, or whoever they feel like they are going to get the most recognition from. We have a culture sometimes, especially in our area, that it's more about, the trainers or the coaches than it is about the players. And,
all right, I'm glad you stepped in.
Definitely that culture has hindered us in our area for these kids getting opportunities. Aaron's a hardworking kid. And for him to say something like that, it had to be a legit experience.
Let me say this. I'm going to give you some credit, Glasgow. So when we worked before this, you had to take over your school responsibilities.
Yeah.
Your sister was on the show, and he had a show about the kids going to HBCUs.
Right.
And your sister spoke the truth too. When you was asking all of the players, how hard was it for you to get into a HBCU? And a lot of HBCUs didn't want to recognize you falling short of the mark. Because all of these students were saying it was a hassle. And so it doesn't get straightened out, kids, unless we're talking about it. And that's another thing that I'm saying our network has to be known for, that when you hear something on our network, you can pretty much know that it's the truth, unless we're not one to knowingly put falsehoods out or to put words in your mouth. But what we ask our athletes and other people, just tell it like it is. You can't tell it like it is a lot of different places, but here you can't fix the problem if you're not talking about the problem.
Right.
All right, hey, Bedell, keep running it down.
All right. So at that point, I had really just been discouraged from basketball. I wasn't really the biggest fan of it. I mean, I would still play sometimes in the neighborhood with my friends, but otherwise, like, I really didn't really want to play like competitive basketball much.
Did your parents see the difference in your attitude towards sports?
Yeah, they most definitely did, because they had taken me off the team that year. And then my dad, like, he kept trying to push me, but I really just, back then, I really didn't want to play basketball. And then fast forward to 8th grade, that's when I moved here to Kansas City. I decided that I wanted to play basketball again. And then I ended up making the team. I played with Jeremiah, and we ended up going all the way to the middle school championship. We lost that game, but you know, I started to find another love for basketball again. Then once I hit 9th grade, I thought it'd been good. I mean, I had been working hard that entire 8th grade summer, but then I ended up making the freshman team. That's what really set me off, because I thought I should have at least been on JV. So I worked as hard as I could. I was freshman year. I was with Coach Pierre. He helped me out a lot. He showed me that my hard work will pay off. And then after freshman year, I ended up Coach Stamps, he ended up not being our coach anymore. And then it was Coach G, Coach Williams, and Coach Tommy as our coaches. And then my hard work ended up paying off, because I ended up ultimately making the JV team my sophomore year. And I ended up moving up to varsity. And then at the end of the year, I was starting on varsity. And then I started in the last couple of games, the playoffs. And I played pretty good then.
What kind of conversations did you have with Glasgow when you started? Did you have any conversation with him, or did he have conversation with you? Run it down.
I mean, it wasn't really too many conversations. It was pretty much, it was me doing my job. The varsity game that I had.
But I'm saying, if he just said you're doing your job, I want to know what was said.
I mean, there's not too much. It was really just a good job, and continue doing what you're doing.
All right, that's enough for me.
Short and sweet, baby. Short and sweet.
Did you say anything back to him per se?
I just said, yes, sir, I will.
All right.
That's what I did.
This is for the other athletes that are coming behind you. This is a taste of coming up in his shoes from 0 to 10, possibly. We'll see this season. Go ahead, run it down.
All right. So after sophomore year, I went to my junior year. Now, I was injured for most of the summer. I had messed up my nerve on the bottom of my right foot. And then I continued to play on it, which ended up injuring it some more. So then I wasn't really able to develop as much as I wanted to during that summer. But I still ended up playing pretty much most of my junior year. Well, actually,
what
all
kind
of
of
it.
season do you think you had last year?
I think I had. I
had 10, like, we go do measurements.
I'd say I had like a 7 out of 10.
Coach,
like per season.
That's all right.
I thought you drastically improved myself from, I think I came to the.
This program was brought to you by DeCapo's Cookies. Support your local bakers.
Gym preseason when y'all were at Anderson and y'all were doing scrimmaging and what have you. Then I seen you in 1 or 2 other games, but I just couldn't believe when it was like he put you on the bench on that interview. I said, man, I watched your game just elevate. And then it seemed like you had gotten more aggressive than you had been in the past. on crashing the boards and all of that. I was like, damn, how the Soup son getting some action like this. People would be thinking people are playing favorites. But coach was like, not this time.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, just to add to that, like, you know, that's a interesting dynamic. And Aaron has, you know, has never approached anything or Superintendent Bedell. It comes to basketball, he's just a dad. So
right.
So there's never been any of that. I was like, you know, coach him, you know what I mean? Coach him hard, coach him up. They asked me to do that, him and his mom both. And Aaron's a hard working kid. So, you know, energy wise, I think when you come in as a sophomore and stuff like that, and it's your first varsity experience like that, you got to kind of find your way into your role and what you can contribute to the team. And energy and effort was always something that he always had automatically. Now, developing your skills, something that you got to do just in the off season and on your own time as much as you can, and then some during the season. But, you know, what we needed from Aaron was his energy and effort, and he brought that his sophomore year. And that's what got him moved up was his ability to play hard and compete. And I mean, you know, there's never been a problem with us asking him to do something that he's not willing to do. As far as these other guys, I mean, that goes for all of them. I mean, we ask a lot of them, and you know, they, you know, have stepped up to a lot of those challenges, and we'll continue to do so this year. But I mean, for Aaron's sake, you know, it's just about him finding his niche. And this year, you know, in this off season in the summer, we really try to work on and want him to work on guard skills and things like that, you know, and facing up and taking jump shots and things like that, so that he could develop and get ready for the next level, which, you know, I mean, will be required of him. You know what I mean? So it's not for our own selfish reasons. We could always put him in the same position that he's been successful in, but that wouldn't help him going into next year when he gets recruited or whatever. They're going to want to see his game expand. So, you know, at the sacrifice of us, you know, wanting to do just certain things, then that's more important to us, that he gets that development and he's prepared for the next level also, not just our team success this year.
Hey, Aaron, tell our audience your measurements.
All right. So I am 6'3" with a 6'8" wingspan, and I weigh 185 pounds.
And have you gained weight over the last year?
Yes, I have gained plenty of weight. I have gained 10 pounds over the.
So you HBCU coaches, I'm telling you, this kid I think can go, and y'all. I know how I was as an athlete. You can see like baby fat, or you can see, oh, this kid, once I get him on that training table, is going to be a beast. And I'm telling you, I think this these kids, they can play. And for my HBCU coaches, take a look at them. Go ahead, Aaron. And they smart. They got that GPA that you're not gonna have to worry about them being ineligible for playing. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. And then pretty much my junior year, I played all right. I think I could have played much better. I think it was just like a confidence thing. You know, I was still afraid to take shots. And then I was afraid to get the ball for the most part. But then once I like really got into the swing of things, I started playing much better.
You start wanting the ball.
Yes, definitely. Yes, before it was just like, you know, I was just
stay out the way. I'm going to move on the floor. I'm going to play defense. I'm in the game, but I'm not in the game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's why you got coach. And that's why you got the bench. When you finally find out I got to get in the game, then coach sees that and you in the game when you playing like you in the game. All right, so Jeremiah, you got any schools looking at you?
Right now, no, not really. I've applied to a couple different schools. I applied for North Carolina A&T. I've applied for a couple PWIs just not just strictly just have one like pathway. But big, I want to personally go to a HBCU. But if the HBCU don't work out, it's on the back end of my mind. I've had relatives, family members that have gone to the military and have had good outcomes out of it. So I haven't just focused my gaze on just like strictly college. Just like if college works out, it works out. I'll go to college, get my degree. If it doesn't, just go to the military. If the military doesn't work, just work, because I can't stop doing.
Let me say this. See, now that I'm looking at you, Miss Nelson, I remember your face and your play. I remembered his play, but now I remembered your play. And I'm telling you, you got from just last year, you got good enough game to go to most NAIA colleges right now. Less more if you have
all of our guys do. And
yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, with the climate we're in, it took away a lot of these guys' summer where they could be evaluated and be in front of college coaches. So this year is a very important year for these guys. And and that's why we have the schedule. Our schedules, I would match our schedule up with anybody's schedule in the Metro as far as toughness. I mean, it is heavy loaded with talented teams. And we did that so that these guys would have the right film, win, lose, or draw, that they could send to these HBCUs or these JUCOs or D2s or, whoever, so they would have accurate film against competitive teams so that they can get recruited. I feel like these guys can play at the next level, but with COVID has changed everything. It's giving kids extra eligibility years. The seniors that are there at colleges right now, some of them got an extra year. So that's taking scholarship opportunities away. Fortunately, like we've mentioned several times, academically, these kids can get in academically, and that saves the college basketball coach right now and say, you can get an academic scholarship here, then that means that you can still come play. And then, once the academic scholarship opens up, I can offer it to you as you get down the road. So, I mean, we gonna work hard this year and hopefully we get all the film that we need and we can start putting out these highlights and start sending them to the coaches because they weren't able to be seen in this offseason as much as they normally would have. And college coaches have not been able to come. Their recruiting periods.
Right. Well, last night I finally was able to get with Deion Sanders. He's going to be coming on the show next week because HBCUs, we got the talent, and we got to make sure that no diamonds in the rough escape. And I think some of the players that are coming out of Lincoln, and it has a history with football per se, bringing talented athletes from Lincoln to college to the pros. And I think on the trajectory that Lincoln is on as a whole with their sports program, that's going to happen with these players. And with you having a significant amount of HBCU direct contacts, I think something will happen for you fellas. Coach Mike didn't even tell you that. He got direct cell numbers to about 15 HBCU coaches. I talked to Xavier's coach the other night for an hour.
Yeah, they know, man. But, for me, it's about, it's a what have you done for me lately type of environment. And these coaches want to see what you're doing currently. As soon as we got good film, they'll be sent to every one of those guys. And, I'll vouch for these guys, and they know I'll run through a wall for them just like they'll run through a wall for me. And we will make something happen for them. If that's the opportunity that they want to take and they want to get to the next level and play, we'll do everything we can to make sure that happens for all of these guys. And there's always, there's prep school options now that weren't, prevalent back even when I played. So there's opportunities for these guys to get another year of development before they get to college. So we'll make something happen for anybody that wants that opportunity. I think that several of them have it. I try not to talk about that until, there's something accurate that we can send coaches, because that relationship is important. If I send a coach a kid, I want that kid to be prepared, and I want that coach to come back and say, who else you got for years to come. And they know that responsibility. We talk a lot about those responsibilities and what that looks like in the grand scheme of things. So Lincoln is definitely on the rise with a lot of good things going on. There's a lot of buzz around Lincoln right now that, these athletes have created in all of our sports. And now it's basketball's turn to go and carry that load and, go back and repeat as district champions. And, we got to get a step further, though, than that. So everybody knows that, we're going to continue to build and continue to rise as best we can. So,
hey, Bedell, you got any colleges you looking at?
Well, okay, so I would love to go to Virginia State University.
That's where I went at my freshman year down in Petersburg, baby boys, home of Scuba wine.
Tell Uncle Nelson here to make some calls and get it.
I can. If now that I know that you want to go there, don't you even hold it. Hey, Coach, when we interviewed the coach from DC, Columbia University, don't you remember? He knew the coach down there at Virginia State's in the Hall of Fame, and that's when I was going there in 70. And beautiful campus, beautiful atmosphere. You'll love it. Now, Coach is saying that
let's get it.
I definitely will be looking into it for you before the next week, Coach, and I'll get back with you on that.
Cool.
Virginia State, and who else you looking at?
Okay, so I'm also looking at Dillard. I've contacted the coach there, and pretty well, I'm not 100% sure. That's not one of my top options, but that is a place I would like to go. And then I also would like to go to Alabama A&M. I got accepted there already, so now it's really just about hopefully getting a scholarship for basketball and being able to play.
Oh, all right. Hey, what's your goals? And then we're gonna close out. What's your goals for the season? And
all right,
get your shout out after your goals.
All right, my goal for the season is to be as intense as possible. I don't want to lose. I don't plan on losing at all in the season. I think that we could be the best team in the state with no debate. I think that we are the best team in the state, and we're gonna show it.
All right.
I'm gonna prove it to everyone.
See, I like that. Can you see you see where the TV is I'm pointing to?
Yes, sir.
See above it? Can you see who that is above the TV?
Not really.
Ali. And that's the type of statements I like. That's how the champ was, and he backed it up. And so I really like that brass statement. I think not only we the best team in our league, we the best team in the state. And I think for you to win and be a winner, if you don't have that attitude, you're not going where you say you want to go.
Right.
And if they knock you down, it's not because you didn't think you was the best. And that's what happens in college. You have all of these stars coming out of they part of the country, then they come to one team, and a guy that was a star in New York, he meets stars some other places, and sometimes you wilt because you've been the star all the time, and now you with players that have your talent and above, and that's where this comes into play, your mental toughness. And I think the program and the culture that you're creating and drawing on, me as a Black man and as a businessman and as owning a digital sports network, I'm super proud of both of you kids and Coach, because what y'all are doing, for the most part, has been lost in our community with high values. I'm talking about not all overall, but a big slice of what we supposed to do, how we supposed to act, just in representing our family and our community has been lost. And I'm gonna steal Jim Watts's line. It was a plum pleasing pleasure, real talk, on this interview with you guys. And I'm sure that your parents and your relatives are very proud of you. And as Coach says, I know the alumni and the staff at Linclon Perp, the teachers, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, whether you know it or not. But I think Coach has told you what it is, and I think overall y'all are all responding. And so I'm looking for big things from both of you fellas. And once Coach y'all get to rocking with film and what have you, we're gonna have you on the network every time we can, because that's what it's gonna take for you to get the exposure so that you can go to that next level in sports and in life. So with that being said, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.